thanks a lot for being here in the studio. Thanks a lot for coming to Camp Life. Tell me who made Matt Evans.
I think as I look back on life, there were some moments that were hard growing up that shaped my drive and my ambition and what I set out to achieve. And like I said, so I'm pushing 50 and I didn't realize this. So COVID helped me understand who I was and how I got here, because I'm a pretty driven individual. And when the world slowed down and stopped, I was left with me. And I was forced to.
You were operating at 78 RPM yes. And the world went down to 33 1/3.
And for a minute, I was like, wow, I get to relax. And then after a while, I was like, oh no, who am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? I have nothing to do. And a friend of mine came along who was a retired Navy SEAL officer. He began to help me understand my fear of failure.
Okay.
And for me, that hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, in the SEAL unit, you have to love learning through failure.
Yeah.
For me, I'd spent a lifetime trying to avoid failure. And then I started asking, where did that come from? Well, I realized as a kid, some certain events happened that hurt. And then I said, never again will I show weakness.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt like that again.
So I started living from a place of hurt rather than living from a place of wholeness and healing. A teacher in 8th grade came to me and said, you know, Matt, you're very smart. Your grades don't show it as full capability.
Yeah.
But you're very smart. I wonder if you could get straight A's. Okay, fine, I will. And I have ADHD, raging ADHD. I didn't realize it. But what happened was, through sheer will of force and effort, I learned to control my mind, my attention, my focus. And I just figured I'll outwork anyone. And guess what? Straight A's. And then I said, well, shoot, I'm already getting straight A's. Might as well keep going.
Yeah.
Why stop now? So then I graduated one of the valedictorians from high school. But in that process, I was thinking, I want to be somebody. I want to have significance. Well, how do you get significance? I don't know, become a Major League Baseball player. And so I started acting as if I was going to be a professional athlete, when truth is I didn't have the skill. So then when I realized I'm not going to ever become an athlete, I probably need to make a lot of money. So by the time I got into college, I said, all right, college professor, how do I rule the corporate world? So see, I'm searching for significance.
Yeah.
They said, well, marketing, study
marketing. Once
marketing.
you're in that corporate world, well, then you're significant. You proved yourself.
Yeah.
You got the certificate. It's right here. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
I even have the title that proves it.
Yeah.
So in college, I did. I said, well, I said, how do you rule the corporate world? And they said, well, if you're going to be a CEO, you probably need to study marketing. I said, fine, I'll be a marketing major. So I became a marketing major to become ultra wealthy. But I was frustrated in the meantime because of the learning curve was so extreme. I never could figure out who I was or how I could contribute. Or I was like so frustrated that people didn't recognize my value and my contribution. But what was happening is I was learning in obscurity. Most of us aren't willing to learn in obscurity, right?
Yeah.
You're becoming what you need to become, and you're learning when no one else recognizes, because you're putting in the effort in the dark. And it's just you putting in the effort, grinding it out. But remember,
and the only one that's really evaluating you is you. And you
that's
know,
a harsh critic.
You know you did the work, or you know if you didn't do the work.
It's true, but like I told you, it started out as no one's gonna outwork me.
Yeah.
And I had some proof to show that. I got all my straight A's. So now I'm in college, and like heck, am I gonna get a B+?
Yeah.
So I graduate one of the highest honors, like 3.87 or whatever it is, out of VU. And I get into the corporate world and I start digging holes for $9 an hour in construction. So my parents send me to this private school education. I graduate top of the class with a marketing degree. And
you're like, then I'm going to take over a shovel.
Yeah, exactly. So I end up
maybe
as
it's
a
not
laborer.
the world yet. It's a shovel.
Yeah. I mean, I end up as a laborer on a construction crew, a framing crew in residential housing. And I'm digging trenches for silt fence. I'm sweeping basement floors before, the homeowner comes in. I'm doing all this gnarly, nasty, like grunt work. And I stink at building anything. Like it's not my skill set.
It's not your native skill set.
So eventually the owner says, all right, listen, let's use your degree.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, okay. But I felt so guilty for making more money because to me, it wasn't who I was yet.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was an imposter. So I had to get over that after a while, feeling guilty of earning that money, because it was really, once again, I was driven to succeed and have significance and influence, but I didn't see myself that way. And all of a sudden it was being offered to me.
Yeah.
And so that was a hard one. And you make mistakes and you fail, and one thing leads to another. And I had a lot of mentors along the way, but these are the realizations I'm coming to during COVID with the help of my Navy SEAL friend. And the thing I realized is I was pursuing a title, and I was pursuing a wage, and I was pursuing wealth, because I believed that one day, if I had enough wealth and I had a lofty title, I could show the world I was somebody. But that only lasts for so long. You can lose all your money. You can get fired. You can do all these things.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they forget who you are.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's one of the things that stopped me. I was like, what legacy am I actually leaving? So I sacrificed family, relationships, time, a whole lot of stuff to become what I thought was significant and valuable. But at the end of the day, maybe not.
Yeah.
So that's how I got here. I've had multiple mentors. And along the way, I traveled all over the world, went to places most people never go, the Darien jungle, for example. So I went jungle situations. I went to remote situations all over the world. My mind being blown apart by this Western mindset that I tried to take to the places in Africa or the jungles or China, wherever I went. And you can't take an American view and understand their world.
Yeah.
I thought things were black and white. Guess what? They're not.
Yeah.
Mostly gray.
Yeah.
So I had all this
And there's
international
1,000
experience.
shades of gray.
1,000 shades. It's certainly not the tourist path. Having my shackles blown off, living with families in the bush of Africa, living in the jungles, doing all these things in my early 20s, along with trying to find significance, leading teams to these locations, cutting my teeth on leadership from college on, in business as well, owning my own family business, growing it, getting fired from things. So there's a lot of struggle and failure. But eventually I got to the point when this Navy SEAL, who in my mind had gained significance, but he gained it through hard knocks, through failure. And yet I looked at him and I said, wow, you're a man of character and integrity and strength. I didn't know you could learn that way and be that. And then that's when everything changed.
You realized his success in what he learned successfully through failure.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a teacher. It wasn't. So a lot of us look at failure and we say, it defines me as a failure.
Yeah.
I failed, therefore I am a failure.
Yeah.
For him, it was just a teacher. He's like, we're not superhuman in the teams, the Navy SEALs. We're not superhuman. We do things that most people don't ever think they're capable of, but it's because we refuse to quit. And I had been exposed to some of that because 14 years ago, and this is a major part of my life, 14 years ago, when I was stuck in one of these transitions, kind of just a little bit lost. It was during my time at the city of Valparaiso. At the very beginning of that, just shortly before, I wanted to see how I could transform the world.
Yeah.
And it led me to an organization that was teaching how psychology can change what we achieve as a human and how to use psychology in an organizational setting. And they had worked with national presidents around the world. This organization worked with much of the Fortune 1000. They worked with Olympic athletes. They worked with Nick Saban at Alabama to help him with his program. And they were bringing me into their fold, teaching me how to take psychology, transform myself, and transform the organizations I'm a part of. Dr. Bandura, Albert Bandura, famous psychologist, just recently died. In the 70s, he did an experiment that ultimately led people to understand more about self-efficacy.
Okay.
So have you heard of self-efficacy?
I know the term, and
So
probably
most people
3 sentences.
Yep. So self-efficacy is this. It's the belief that I have or you have that you can do what you want. Can I actually pull off what I intend? Okay, self-efficacy. Me and guitar playing, no, I have zero self-efficacy. I don't have rhythm. I tried it. But leading an organization, changing the world, for some reason, I believed I could. So self-efficacy. So what they realized, Dr. Bandura, as he's doing his research, he says, let me tell you something. And he didn't tell this to me. He told this to my colleagues at the Pacific Institute who I was working with. He said, and they were in Seattle. So he starts drawing the Seattle Kingdom where I think the Seahawks play. And he says, this is the kingdom. And he puts a dot with his marker on the top. And he says, you know what that dot is? And they're like, no. He says, it's bird poop. He said, what we know is humans, if their container is the size of the kingdom, what they use of their potential is bird poop on the roof of the kingdom. That's the amount people actually use.
Yeah.
So it's near unlimited. The question is what keeps us stuck? And the answer, he said, and other psychologists said, habits, attitudes, beliefs, expectation. I would add a fifth, environment. Problem is we end up listening to too many people who tell us, hey, listen, you can't run a mile in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, then until Roger Bannister does, and then everybody has to run it in 4 minutes because otherwise you don't go to the Olympics.
These guys here would tell you how many times I've used that as an example, because it's not physics. It's mental dynamics. And there's nothing that changed in physics.
You'll move toward what you intend to do. If that the image in your mind and so the dominant image, right? When that picture becomes more dominant than any other picture that you hold in your mind, you will move toward that through what's called cognitive dissonance. Dissonance is where I want to be is not where I am at today. And it's that tension that can pull us forward. So the way we achieve things is using our mind to see a future that doesn't exist yet, paint it really vividly and intensely, focus on it, and then all of a sudden, the tension inside pulls us toward that. And then once we get there or come close to it, we have to move the goalpost. Otherwise, we plateau and stall. But if you think about an architect, where did they get the idea to build a building? They had to dream it first. Chicago had to exist in someone's mind.
The paper was blank.
Yeah.
And then they had to write something down.
But they had to see it.
Yeah.
So our mind is so powerful in that it's this canvas that if you give it some inputs and start by just saying, what is it that I want? And then you fan that flame till it's a raging fire, you will create the internal drive to get there. You won't need someone to motivate you because you'll be driven.
It's the end of March Madness here. You watch that every year from that intensity standpoint. It's, one player on a streak is going to help a team for a while in the early goings, but it's ultimately when they got a whole entire team together and a coach in sync, and their mentality is all like, you're just a very intense learner your whole life. You want to observe something from everyone. How do you throttle that, modulate that, or turn on which filter or governor or faucet to say, hey, I naturally operate at 110 miles an hour, and I realize I need to dial that down to 60. I view it like you're a 45 or a 78 RPM or a 45 or 33 and a third. And a lot of the world operates at 33 and a third, and you just operate at 78. Everybody's different. Why don't I just embrace being a 78 guy and find some of the others? Because that's what balances life.
I learned how to focus and force myself to retain. And then if I didn't get it the first time, I was not going to stop till I learned it, right? So I feel like I can literally walk into anything, study it, apply it, connect with the people, find the resources, finding it. I may not know today, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then become what I need to succeed. What I'm infatuated with is this belief that humans have unlimited potential, and most of us spend our life wasting it. And I don't want to stand at the end of my life before my Creator and realize I've wasted it. So how do you, Mr. Navy SEAL, in the face of death and great fear at times, choose to do things that are hard rather than retreat? Because all my life I felt like I have retreated. And you know what he said? He said, Matt, don't you dare sell yourself short. And I'm like, wait, what? He said, you weren't supposed to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
You were supposed to be what you were. And look at you,
Yeah.
what you had to go through. Don't discount that. And I started saying, whoa, I've never stopped long enough to appreciate who I've become and what I went through and how hard that was. And then I started, you know what I started doing, Chris? I started loving myself. And I had not been there before. I saw myself as deficient and broken. But you can look back to my accolades. You know, straight A student, valedictorian of this, traveled all these nations, led teams, tried to change
all
and
the
name
boxes.
all the boxes.
Check.
So my thought there is I go into the organization and I say, and this is what we're doing at my current place, is I say, hey, listen, I want to give you the tools to transform yourself, because I believe that by improving yourself, you can improve your life. And when you see a future for yourself, because you look at it through a lens of who am I, and my potential is unlimited, and this life is precious, and I want to become, whatever, make a difference. What happens is when I empower you to be the best you then will work harder than I could ever imagine. Because it's,
and I could ever push you to.
And I could ever incentivize, push, threaten. That is my way of loving and developing people. And Andrew Carnegie did the same thing with Napoleon Hill. I'm reading through all of that stuff, right? What an opportunity. Andrew Carnegie says, Napoleon Hill, take 20 years of your life to document the success of 500 people, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, myself, Henry Ford. I'll open up my contacts to you, study their success. This is what Carnegie did with the steel mills. He just gathered people together, empowered them to change from the inside, using their mind to create opportunity, to innovate, and then he rewarded them handsomely, but they were driven from the inside. So I do the same thing in the organization. If people understood what they had, they could transform themselves and the world around them. So my goal is to give it to them, realizing only a small fraction are ever going to take to it. But guess what? All I need is a spark. And then if I have a core, I can change a company, I can change a community, I can change a trajectory. What people spend most of their time battling are symptoms, not the root cause. It's easier that way. We do it as parents. We just battle the behavior rather than actually trying to change the child at the root cause level to where they are healthy, whole, know that they're loved unconditionally, free to fail, coached through their mistakes, built up as a human with the belief that they can actually create change in their life and be responsible for it. Now that's a successful person. But what happens is that takes time. I have to grow myself as a parent to teach that. I have to be patient with their failings. I have to walk them through it. I can't just say, do that again and I'm sending you to your room. But in business, we say, do that again and I'm firing you.
Yeah.
Because we deal with the symptom rather than the root cause. So most of the time, people never get to the root cause because one, they don't understand how to get there. Two, if they did, it just is easier.
Too complicated.
It's too complicated. It's just, hey, knock it off. I need to change now. Stop it. But long term, we're never gonna.
Yeah.
It's not going to be of value. So I think as leaders, I have made a decision. I'm not going to micromanage you.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much effort for me, and you don't want it. If I micromanage you, I take away your human agency, your ability to say, I am in control of me, and I can make my own future with my own effort. Guess what? You're powerful. I tell my team, you are powerful. And I'm not going to, and you may think that you're not powerful because you were born poor, you didn't get opportunity, your mom and dad didn't get. Listen to me. You are powerful. Whether you believe it or not, I believe it for you. Draft off of my belief.
Yeah.
If you have to. But here's the deal. I'm going to treat you like you're powerful. I'm going to paint a picture of who you can become, and I'm going to work you to that. I understand where you are today. You can't see that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to back it up to here, where it's safe, where you can see yourself there. And then I'm going to support you to change from the inside out to get to here. Well, when you get here, I'm going to move the goalpost. And then you're going to get here. And then you're going to get here. And then they get here and they look back and they say, wow. And then all of a sudden their belief in what they can cause in life is huge. And now they're on their own. It takes time. Most of the time in organizations, we're looking at the financial spreadsheet. We got to drive change now. So we push, we prod, we threaten, we coerce, we manipulate, we incentivize, and we do more harm than we do good because we never develop the people. And what happens is when a leader steps out of that and says, I'm going to build a team around me, decentralized leadership, raise up trusted people who get the heart and the intent, drive alignment, trust these people, these are mid-level managers, to lead the people, I have created capability and I have taken the pressure off of me because I can't be everything that they need. They need other people. So we all have great strength together. And that's how you scale. So if we look at Korellis, which people would say, well, who is Korellis? Well, they've seen the name. Well, if you're from our area, you've seen the name on some red and white truck. So essentially, Korellis has long time been a roofing contractor, initially in the 1960s and a little bit beyond residential. Okay. But through the second generation, so first generation, George Korellis, second generation, his son, Pete Korellis, Pete transforms that into a company that's not residential so much anymore, but mostly just commercial and industrial. When we landed the Ford contract, which has been ongoing now for many, many years, to keep working on their buildings for them and re-roofing them. So what happens is George Korellis started out the gate wanting union labor. You hear of companies becoming union later on. George wanted union. And he wanted union, my understanding, because of the capability, the skill, the craftsmanship, the pride and ownership, the ability to scale it up, scale it down if you need. But what he said was, I'm going to treat these people as if giving them a career, right? So it wasn't just you hire them on and you throw them away when you don't have the job. You really try to sell enough work to keep people working and give them a career, give them something that they can be proud of. Now, here we are to a founder transition. So George passes it to Pete. Pete's son decides to go to West Point, doesn't want to be in the family business. Pete now needs to decide, what do I do with the company? Do I sell to private equity? Well, maybe I sell it to another roofing business. Or maybe I sell to the owners. And he chose the owners. Korellis has a beautiful, beautiful story. And it's an honor and a privilege to be chosen to lead the company. Because here's the thing, people don't realize, Chris, Korellis is one of the most decorated roofing companies in America. My point in telling you that is Korellis has got a beautiful history. The challenge is now if you're an owner, how do I trust someone else with that? How do I pick the right team? And that's a hard transition because for me, I'm being entrusted with someone's baby. And it's going to look and smell
generations of babies.
Generations, 65 years. So how do I handle this? So I have to realize what is being entrusted to my care. And I then have to respect the past. What got us here? I have to go humbly and say, I don't know how to roof a building, but my training wasn't in roofing. And I'm never going to be a great roofer. But I think I understand business. I think I understand people. I think I understand how to build a relationship. And I think I can see a future and help guide us there. When I think of a leader, it's someone who can come to an organization, a people, a home, or whatever, see a desired future, come back to the people and say, hey, listen, we're all unique and different, build the team, put the all together, and then create a shared vision and get these people here willing to come together and move as a unit toward the vision.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my role. I don't need to know roofing or sheet metal or anything else to do that. It helps. I really have to understand how to create a vision, how to help build relationships, find talented, skilled individuals, help bring them together, create common language, create something that is meaningful, and then solve problems, handle change, and build the culture, protect the culture, and guide them there. So the values, it starts with me. These are the values I teach to the organization. It starts with me, right? All lasting change starts first on the inside, works its way out. I want you to take ownership, accountability. It's not their fault. It's how do I start with me?
Yeah.
Ownership, accountability, responsibility. I have to change here. I can't be negative. I can't undermine. I have to say, how do I become my best? Details matter. How can I trust you in the big things if I can't trust you in the small things?
Yeah.
Details matter. Third one is we're going to make it memorable for the customer. The fourth thing we're going to do is we're going to be generous. I'm not just talking money, but if we've done these other things right, we will have money and we'll be generous to the community. Generous is also your knowledge, your time,
Yeah.
your care,
Your training, your development.
your development. That's what we need from the union members is train one another so that we have great craftsmen so that we can do great work. The fifth thing is we say is together we thrive.
Yeah.
Together we thrive. And what is thriving for me? In our language, thriving is, it's not just your pocketbook. It's your mental, your emotional, your kids going to school, your roof over your head, you're happy, you're healthy, and always. Because I told you, I lived out of hurt for years of my life. It was miserable until I realized I was doing it and then I could change it. So listen, I want you healthy and whole because you'll do the best you then can do for the customers, and I'll help you get there if you want to. We don't realize this as humans. I didn't realize it until I started diving in all the psychology. We have a choice as to what we let in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us we're born, we're in a home environment. We are not actively selecting what we believe. It just comes at us. We see our parents modeling it. We are told, hey, you're smart, you're dumb, you're good at art, you're bad at art. And we're like, must be true. Hey, you're a baseball player, not a football player. Must be true. Oh, you're a scientist, you're bad at math, you're good. Must be true. And all of a sudden, 40 years later, we've become someone that others
At some point in time, just told us we were.
And so the question is, where did you get that belief? Well, it was sold to you and you bought it. But realize everybody is selling you something every single moment of every single day. Most of the time, if not all of the time, it's coming from what they believe to be true for themselves, and they're putting it on you. Family is the best at that.
Yeah.
Family says, oh, honey, I know who you are. This is what you are.
Yeah, you don't want to be a nurse. You
don't want to be a nurse. You don't want to stop
be,
dreaming. That's just crazy talk. Guess what? It might be crazy for you. It's not crazy for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So someone has to be Elon Musk and do SpaceX. It just happens Elon Musk decided to be Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Now, some people would say, oh, honey, that's just crazy. Don't talk like that. And if you believe that, you're never going to pursue it.
Yeah.
So my point in telling you all this is when we see people like my Navy SEAL buddy, or we see other individuals that I've had in my life who helped me with changing the nation that I was trying to work with, I saw elements in them that I admired and respected. In one individual, he could literally walk into any place and connect with the person behind the counter, person in the store, and connect instantaneously, build lifelong friendship. And they were drawn like a moth to him. I saw it so many times. My point is, I'd see that and I'd say, I want to adopt that trait. I want to adopt that trait out of my buddy with the Navy SEAL of doing hard things, even when it's difficult, not paying attention to how I feel, but just doing it because I know it's the right thing, right? And I see all these people, and I can literally pick from people the attributes.
It's like going
I
to a
want,
library,
and then
there's
I can
just
assimilate
1,000 books, and I could get as smart as I could possibly be by just walking in the library.
Yep. So now, where does that lead us with negativity? If we don't see something that intrigues us, we have to see versions of people that inspire us and then ask the question, I wonder if. We live in a world of constant negativity because I believe people don't have a vision for the future of who they are and what they are capable of and where they want to go. They live small. They play in fear because that's how the world taught them to be. Nobody came along and said, wait, honey, you are underliving your potential. Oh, really? Yeah, let me show you. So we have to change our environment to put ourselves around people who've done things we want to do or different than we are. Because if we hang out with like-minded, small-minded individuals, we will consume negative garbage on TV and our Instagram reels, and we'll never think it's that's not normal.
Yeah, we'll think that's normal,
and it's not.
Yes, exactly.
But what happens is we're taking these seeds and we're sowing them into the soil of our mind, and they will give root and they will grow. And then all of a sudden, one day, we're just full of insecurity, anxiety, and negativity. We wonder, how in the world did we get here? What have you been eating?
By choice.
By choice. My point is that's how you get into environments where you start seeing what is possible, not just what you've been introduced to that point. And then you start assimilating and taking on the unique attributes of all these other people that you admire and respect, and their kindness, their value for others, their hard work, their, you name it, the way they think about life, the optimism, possibility, the belief in themselves. And you start absorbing that and you say no, because you only have so much time in a day.
Back to that point. You only have so much energy. If I gave you 5% of the energy and that's negative, I literally start the day at 95%. Why? Why? I want to start the day at 100%. If I come in and I'm a little bit negative, so I'm starting at 95, and then I turn to the first person I see in the office and I'm a little snarky, I just snipped 5 from them. So as the owner of the company, I take 5 from me before I walk in the door. Then I take 5 from a staff member as soon as I interact with them. They then translate that into 2 people in the office. All of a sudden, we're down 20 points by walking in the door. And I come from serving traders my whole life. Like, you literally just got scalped negatively on a trade. Like, you just lost 20% or 20 points on the trade through those impacts, and you just walked out on the trading floor. Like, oh my God, you're going to have an awful day.
So if we look at our teams and we wonder why they're having an awful day, we have to look at ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I probably helped create that. And it goes back to that same thing. You know, when you're shaving in the morning, you're brushing your hair, whatever it is, the person that you're looking at, it's not the president or the world or social media or the teacher or none of those have anything to do with how your day is going to go. Like, you have a lot to do with how your day is going to go. And actually, you have a lot to do with how other people's days are going to go. So lock yours in and then go give 5, not take 5.
Can you fill their cup up?
Yeah.
And that for you and me, it starts in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. How do I wake up in the morning? How do I prepare myself in the morning? How do I step out of my front door? Kind of win that morning in order to win the day.
And I'm a very critical thinker. So when I get up in the morning, I'm aware there's 10 risks and I've thought about all of them. I just don't dwell upon all of them. What might you tell the younger Matt that the learning that you had between 45 and 50, how might you help the 25-year-old get that 5 years of insight that you gained between 45 and 50? How could you give it to them in digestible terms that they could learn between 25 and 30?
I do this with
It's a very unique question. I just made it up.
It's great. I do this with my boys. I've translated this to parenting. My wife and I are on the same wavelength, which makes it
essential.
Yeah. She was a psychology major, and so she applies a lot of this, and she's just an avid reader, and she loves to consume and apply. I would let my kids know that they're loved. I'd let myself, I'll speak to that way, right? Let myself know, hey, listen, you're loved unconditionally just the way you are. And we even tell our boys this, you can't do anything more. You can't do anything to make me love you more. And you can't do anything to make me love you less. I love you no matter what you do and the way you are. Okay. The next thing that I would tell myself is, hey, listen, I know that you have had hard times, been bullied, had other things go on that made you feel like you weren't worthy or significant. But just know that you have more potential than you could ever utilize. So what I want you to do is get around individuals who have done the things you value or have characteristics and qualities that you value, that you emulate and inspire you. Get experiences that, like I did, go travel around the world and experience. Get outside of Northwest Indiana, you know what I'm saying? Because the world is technicolor. Yeah. And oftentimes we describe it like this. So interact with other cultures, interact with other economic stratospheres, right? Or levels, get exposure. And then realize it's not about perfection. Yeah. It's not you have value because you're perfect. You already have value because you're a human being. So your exposure is to learn, to grow, to find new perspectives, to enjoy. And because humans are made to grow. Yeah. They're made to have positive impact on the people in the world around them and to know that they matter to others, right? So then I would say, why don't you just play with less fear? If you mess it up, I'll be here to help you. You don't have to get it perfect. Yeah. And then from there, I would say, my dad taught me this. My dad was a very, very hard worker, and I would never change that. I learned from him, I can work hard, I will overcome. And I think that played into the ADHD, all that stuff. And then for them, I'd say, hey, listen, challenges are going to come. You have a choice of how to handle it. Stress, I was told by one of my mentors, is just a choice. Yeah. Where does stress come from? How you perceive the situation. So listen, when something happens, you don't have to look at it like you're a failure. It's permanent. It's never going to change. It's going to ruin your whole life. You don't have to. That's called learned. Yeah. So you can actually say it differently. Like, hey, this is just a one-time event. It's not personal and it won't ruin the rest of my life. So guess what? Learn from it, move on. Yeah. That's probably the habits I would teach. Keep being insatiable. Believe that you're worthy to sit at the table with all the CEOs or the kings and the queens because they were once in your situation as well. And they're looking to give away what they have learned. Yeah. So just get involved and go after it. Yeah. I would say that's about as perfect a close as you could possibly have. And if you're young, if you're old, if you're wanting to reset, if you're wanting to re-energize, if you're wanting to look to be the best you could be, I think those are some unbelievably great lessons. Thanks for sharing. Oh, thanks for the honor to be here. It's a privilege. Well, I get to learn through everybody else's, what we talked about, everybody else's experience. And I would encourage you to listen, learn, share, engage, read. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to go read about now this weekend that I wouldn't have read about before. So, well, thank you for the time. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah.